Hola amigos y bienvenidos a mi canal. My name is Austin and this is my first video to my new channel, Austin Teaches Spanish, focused on helping the native English speaker understand and start using Spanish effectively in everyday conversations. I'm a native English speaker from the Orlando area in the United States. I grew up in a family of non-Spanish speakers, but I did learn some Spanish when I was in school. Unfortunately, because I was young and dumb, I didn't pay enough attention in my Spanish classes, and I had forgotten a great deal over the years. On top of that, I feel the Spanish lessons we get in school really leave a lot to be desired, and don't adequately prepare students to effectively use Spanish with native speakers. Due to my lack of confidence after finishing my classes, I didn't try to speak Spanish with native speakers after I got out of school. I was too worried about making a mistake or sounding silly that I decided to do nothing instead. It went on like that for about 10 years. Spanish started to sound more like unintelligible noise to me over time, and I understood less and less. Ultimately, I had a realization brought about by a personal tragedy that led me to change my mind. I was previously married and had family from Mexico. Whenever I spent time with those family members, I wasn't really able to communicate with them other than the little bit of broken Spanish that I still knew, which I was still too embarrassed to use. Sure, they spoke some English as well, but there was always a clear disconnect between us. Ultimately, one of those Mexican relatives suffered a tragic accident that sadly led to his passing. After he was gone, I realized that I had wasted so much time that I could have spent talking with him and learning from him. He was never able to tell me stories from his life, nor could I share my own stories with him. I was never able to truly connect with him as a member of my family. It was this needless loss that led me to realize that the fear that I'd always had of making a mistake and poorly speaking the language held me back from ever getting to know a member of my own family. After that point, I decided that any embarrassment or discomfort I might feel from trying to speak Spanish and grow my skills in the language would always be worth it. I realized that there was no way for my Spanish to get better without doing the hard, sometimes embarrassing work that would get me there. I realized that there's surely no way to learn and grow without opening myself up to failure. I couldn't go back and rewrite the past, but I could commit myself to improving my future. From there, I decided to get to work on learning the language. Since I decided to start learning Spanish, I found that there are a ton of benefits it's given me besides being able to communicate with family. I run a rental store where we rent out all kinds of equipment for different industries like construction, landscaping, and tree work. I get customers who come in all the time who only speak Spanish or speak very little English. Oftentimes they'll come in and try their hardest to speak English with me and struggle to express themselves, or they try to use an app like Google Translate to communicate. Although there's nothing wrong with their attempts to communicate with me, I can scarcely describe the relief that these people feel when they hear me ask, ¿Prefiere que hablemos en español, señor? Being the only Spanish speaker at my job, I now have many customers who come in and work directly with me. And I am so grateful to have their confidence as a non-native speaker. Not only does knowing Spanish help me at work, but I've also found that I really enjoy music, movies, and TV in Spanish. I found a lot of really great songs in Spanish that I've added to a playlist on my phone. And I get to jam out in the car to music that I never would have listened to before, while learning new vocabulary at the same time through the lyrics. I've watched excellent movies and TV shows that I otherwise would have ignored. I've learned hilarious jokes that make native Spanish speakers laugh. And I even changed the language on my phone to Spanish so that my TikTok videos and Facebook memes and all that come through in both English and Spanish. And let me tell you, Latinos are freaking funny, man. The memes that they come up with are absolutely hilarious. The reason I'm sharing all of this with you is to give you some perspective on what this whole process is really about, connecting with people and the world around us. We're learning Spanish so that we can communicate with people who would have been inaccessible to us before. You could have any number of reasons for wanting to learn Spanish. Maybe you want to travel to Latin America. Maybe you want to earn more money at work by translating. Maybe you want to understand Spanish songs that you enjoy. Or maybe you want to communicate with your family while you still have time with them. Whatever the reason may be, the only thing that matters is that you have to want it. You have to be ready to commit yourself to the long, unending process of learning, forgetting, relearning, making mistakes, and embarrassing yourself, and strive for constant improvement in the language. I promise you that if you stick to it and watch all my videos, one day you'll look at your fluency level and look back at when you started, and you'll feel so proud of yourself for all the progress you've made. I decided to start this channel because I want to share what I've learned on my journey and help you along your own path. It's my goal to help you grow your skills in the language and help you on the path to conversational fluency with each and every video. So if you've decided that you've waited long enough to start speaking Spanish, then please subscribe to my channel. I'll share with you what I've learned, and we'll continue learning together along the way. So what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and let's start learning Spanish. Hasta pronto!